Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mindful Movement. I'm your host, Tawana Wright. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Folks, we want to remind you that AARP is empowering people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization with more than 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate on their behalf, all of them, without regard to politics. Good morning, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great, doing great. What do you have on tap for us today?
For this new month of June, we're going to do modifications. I think that it is so important. So many times we'll see an exercise and we will just assume we can't do the full range of motion. So we just skip it. So today, I want to show you how you can modify any exercise to fit your body.
Well, that sounds great. Folks, we want to
Yes.
remind you, before you begin any exercise routine, you should consult with your physician and make sure that it's safe for you to take part in those activities. So, Jerry, I'm not going to delay you any longer. I'll let you
Okay.
get to it.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful day after the holiday. I know some of you may still be in beach mode or mountain mode, but I want to encourage you to use the time today to think about modifications. And when I say that, every exercise may not be for you, and that's okay. What I want you to get out of this session or anytime is how can I modify that to fit me? You may have had an injury or you may just not feel comfortable with that move. So, with that being said, I'm going to do some exercises today to make you think, oh, I can switch this up. So, let's just start with something as simple when you hear people say, give me a jumping jack. Oh my gosh, I don't want to do that, Jerry. It could be your shoulders, it could be your knees. So let me show you a modification to a jumping jack. First thing, if you don't want to even add your arms, you can place your hands on your hips or on your waist, and you simply can step out. You can do this slow or fast instead of jumping out, or if you feel comfortable with your lower body, you can jump out, okay? So again, step out or you can jump out. And you notice how I have not used my arms at all. But let's say you can use your arms, but maybe you can extend your arms all the way up. Not a problem. How about if you just take them out to your side? Again, making this jumping jack your on. Doesn't have to be what you traditionally do or what you traditionally expect, okay? So I can use my arms there. I can take my arms all the way up, or I don't have to use my arms at all. Or I can jump out with my lower body or take my arms fast while I'm doing this. So I can take my arms a little bit faster, okay? Understanding modifications. Again, maybe someone has had surgery on their shoulder or they have rotator cuff. It doesn't matter. Modifying that for you is really the goal and the key. So again, a lot of different ways to do a jumping jack, okay? What about a jump rope? Oh my goodness, that jump rope, sometimes that can just, well, first of all, it can be tricky. So you may not feel comfortable. So you can still use your arms to rotate that jump, but you can just do a heel. It can be a slower pace. You can alternate a heel dig as your jumping jack. Excuse me, as your jump rope. I'm jumped all over. So you can use those arms still as if you're doing a traditional jump rope move and then just add those heels. But let's say, well, I feel a little bit more, I guess, engaged and I can go a little bit higher with that. Still, you do not have to bring your feet completely off of the floor or the ground. You can simply bring your heels up. So you can do a jumping jack and just bringing your heels off of the floor. Notice I'm not bringing my entire foot off. I'm still not jumping completely up. Maybe a little bit softer impact on those knees and those joints. But again, modification. my jump rope. I can do that. Okay. So again, if you're feeling like I can do a little bit more, then you can raise a hop, but absolutely don't worry about doing that if you're not comfortable. Okay. So we had our jumping jack, we had our jump rope. But let's say this is something that people, they kind of frown a little bit. Running. Oh my gosh, I don't want to run. I don't want to run unless a bear is chasing me. And that is fine. Instead of running, and what I do want you to do is maybe walking in place. You can march or walk in place. A great exercise. I personally think that running in our society has been used as a form of punishment. You're late, give me laps, you're this, run. And really, you get to the point where who wants to have that negative? So what you can do, you simply can march in place. You can move those arms. You don't have to. So it's your own run in place. You can march in place. You can walk in place. Again, making that comfortable for you. Okay. I would challenge you, if you're feeling like you want to go outside or you want to go on your deck or you just want to stand up while you're sitting down, you can march in place, walk in place for your own exercise. It's your own lap. You can do it between commercials or whatever that's comfortable for you. But again, that marching, that walking in place, great exercise, not as impactful on those knees. And what I always tell people, if you're running or if you're walking, the destination, the end point, it doesn't change. So it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there, just keep moving. Okay. So again, you don't have to run ever. You can walk, and a brisk walk, I promise you, it will get that heart rate up. Okay. So instead of the running, let's go for the walk. Now, let's go with this. This is an exercise that a lot of people, by the name of a burpee. People really frown upon this exercise. I'm not really sure why, but I'm going to give you a modification to a burpee, and that's a full burpee. You may see people jump at the end of a burpee. They're going all the way down, they're jumping back, then they're jumping up and they're jumping up. So all of those moves they're high intense. Well, let's modify that burpee. And if you don't know what a burpee is, when you finish this session, just go online, look it up. It's like, well, I'm not really sure what that is. I'm going to show you a modification so you can have that as far as an exercise. And with that, we're going to do several moves. Again, taking our arms up and then placing them on the hips. Okay, so reaching all the way up and placing on the hips. That move in itself, just raising your arms above your heart rate, may get your heart rate up. And if you're not comfortable raising your arms above your head, remember, you don't have to. You can just raise them if you're having something going on to your comfort level, your range of motion. Okay. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go from all the way up in the air to my hips. Okay. So that's just like 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2. 1, 2. If you're feeling comfortable, I'm going to add to it. And you never have to do that. When we're doing this, and remember, I want you to be warmed up. We're not doing a lot of stretching today to get into a full exercise routine. I'm showing you modifications. So, of course, everything that I'm doing would be a part of your workout where you've warmed up and you're doing these things. So with this burpee, I would go 1, 2, but I'm going to just slowly roll down so you can see what I'm saying. So I won't pull up anything, and then I'm going to roll back up. Okay. But in a traditional class or setting, we will have warmed that body up. So I feel comfortable going down fast and coming back up. Again, so important to get that stretching in. So with this burpee, this is going to be kind of like in slow motion for you. So it would be 1, 2, all the way down would be 3, and back up to my hips would be 4. Now we would be doing that at a speed that may or may not be comfortable for everyone. So again, that modification, so it will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Notice that I've gone all the way down, touching my toes. And what do you always have to do? Modify for you. The only thing I require from you is a smile. That I require all the time. But all of these moves, if you're not comfortable touching your toes, touching your ankles, touching your shin, touching your knee, or just saying, you know what, Jerri, I'm just feeling comfortable bending, touching right below my knee and coming back up. And that is fine. So this modified burpee would be a 1, 2, 3, 4 move. And we would go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it would be quick. And when we do that, just firing off several back to back to back, it will get your heart rate up when you do that. So taking those arms up, taking them down, coming back, taking them up again. In addition to that, if you're really feeling comfortable, you can add raising your heels, not a complete hop, okay? Never have to do that, or jump. But again, a very standing up burpee move. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? And making that quick, or making it maybe not so quick. Adding a heel raise, or maybe even a little hop, so to speak. Okay? Again, modifying these exercises so you're feeling comfortable with them. Okay? So let me give you another exercise that sometimes can be a different challenge, and that is a squat. When we do a full body squat, a lot of people will say, I can feel that in my knees. And again, we want to make sure that the weight is in your heels and in your hips. Okay, so if you're not comfortable going down that far, just go back a little bit and then stand up. So pressing your body back and down. No pressure on those knees, okay? So just a slight modified squat and coming back up. Not a deep squat, but just going back a little bit. And you notice how I'm keeping my upper body up. This is not a squat when people are bending their upper body, okay? It's that lower body. Again, your feet and your heels are solid. They're planted, okay? Not locked, but just planted. And then what you're doing is just going back and bringing it up a lot, just a modified, just as if I'm sitting in a chair. I know it's there, and I bring it back up. And one thing I'll tell people, if you're a little hesitant with your balance, grab a chair. Just grab your chair and put your feet against the legs of the chair. So what you're doing is just going back as if you're going to sit down using that lower body and then raising back up. So that will give you a little bit more stability. You know that something's back there, and it's that chair. So if you were to do that, again, not a full squat, not adding our arms, none of that. Just simply going down just a little bit and then squeezing those glutes and coming back up, okay? So understanding what that is and what that feels like. Taking exercises that we traditionally maybe avoid and making that a part of what we're doing. So I hope that you've taken a time just to see how can you modify, or if there's something you're like, Jerri, show me how I can modify XYZ. I would love to show you, because believe me, there is always a modification to anything we're doing, be it we dial it back with speed or with range of motion. So from our, starting with the jumping jack to our jump rope to, our burpee to our squat, understand that you can do that. If you're thinking, okay, what about my abdominals? What can I do? One of the exercises, instead of getting on the floor, is what we call a wall sit. And it's simply engaging your abs. So a lot of times people aren't comfortable getting down, doing a plank or sit-ups. So you have a wall. I tell everybody, you got a wall, find you a secure wall. And what you want to do is not lean back on it, okay? You simply want to stand up, make sure you're comfortable, and this is called a wall sit. And this is all about your core, all about your abdominals, giving you an opportunity to get that exercise in and not having to get on the floor. So if I were to do that, I would feel comfortable. I would say get you a comfortable wall that you're, in your home. And then simply you're going to take your feet out and you're just going to do a wall sit. And what's going to happen, the lower you go, the more it's going to work that ab. No pressure on your knees. It's like you're sitting in a chair. Your back is straight. And you're simply going to engage your abs and you can drop your hands. When you do this, understand it's working that abdominal muscle. You will feel it, I promise, okay? Simply a wall sit. I'm simply going to press up to stand back up. So again, working my core and not even having to get on the floor. So I hope you have enjoyed these modifications today. As always, I love it when you ask me questions. I feel like there's nothing you can't ask me that I'm not willing to answer for you. You always know that. I'm not going to make it up. I'm going to make sure that I give you information that you can take in your everyday function. So I thank you so much, Tawana. I hope you were checking out those modifications while we were doing it and you join us. And what do you think, Tawana?
I think those are great tips, Jerry. And you were right. A lot of people talk about the squat. People are really intimidated by the squat. So I'm glad you showed some alternatives to that.
Yes. And I tell you, one of the main things that people have said to me is, I don't feel comfortable getting on the floor and getting back up. So again, to make your core a little bit stronger is doing those wall sits, because you know what? Just find a wall and you got that. The equipment is you.
Well, that sounds great. Well, folks, thanks for joining us. Jerry, as always, we appreciate you leading us through these exercises. Folks, we'll see you next time. Take a look at these commercials coming up, our future events. Take care.
Thank you. All righty. Thanks.